Hello my friends, today we're learning Bobe Basra Daf Kuf Samech Dalet. Let's go. So we're going to start from Kuf Samech Gimel on base, a line up. Rufa Omar Rav, Shtar Abba Hu Ve'edav al המחק אשר ואם תאמר מוחק וחוזר או מוחק, אינו דומה נמחק פעם אחת ונמחק שני פעמים. אלכו שדילמה שדי דיוטה מקום עדים מעיקרא ומחיק לי, דכי ההדר מחיק לי, לאי הווה לי, אידי ואידי נמחק שני פעמים. אמר אביי, כסב הרב, אין העדים חותמים על המחק, אלא אם כן נמחק בפניהם. נתיב והראו על הנייר וידב על המחק אשר, ונכו שדילו מחיק לי וכתיב מי דבאי, והווה לי הוא וידב על המחק. דכתבי אחי, אנחנו סעדי חתמנה על מחקנה, על מחקה, ושטר הכתב על ניירה, דכתבי איכה. איד מלתחת גייז דאילה מחיק לי, דכתבי בין סעדה לסעדה. אי אחי עם הספר, הוא על הנייר, הוא על המחק, וידב על הנייר פסול. למה היא פסול? אחי נמי. נכתבו אחי, אנחנו סעדי חתמנה על ניירה, ושטר על מחקה. מה היא אמרה? מוחק חוזר ומוחק? אמרתי לו דומה, נמחק פעם אחת ונמחק שני פעמים. אני מילי איך דחתי מסעדי המחקה, איך דלחתי מסעדי המחקה, אלא ניירה לא ידיע. וליתי מגילת האחיתי ולמחות ולבלי, לא דם למחקה דעה מגילת או למחקה דעה מגילת, אבל לקפלה, לחתים אותי ידה דסעדה בבית דינה או למחוק ולבלי. אמר רבו שלי, אינה דומה למחק ביומו או למחק בין שני ימים. Aryeh. Amar Ravim Chashina lebetim toin. So after we read the Gemara, now we're going to explain. So the Gemara says the following. We learned in the name of Rav that shtar that's been written once and it was all been rubbed out and written again. Also what's written in the shtar, Gufa shtar, where it says how much Reuven owes Shimon and also the Eidim, it's kosher. Ask the Gemara Kuf Samech Daled Omad Aleph. Why we should be choishish that if such a star is kosher, the malva will get the star, then he'll rub out again what's written in the star and write a new star wherever he wants. Instead of $10,000, he'll make $1 million, and you won't see the difference because it was anyway on a rubbed out paper. On that, the Gemara answers no. That it's not the same when something's rubbed out once, when something's rubbed out twice, and therefore you're going to realize that the star was rubbed out twice and the Eidim was rubbed out only once, what's underneath it, and therefore you'll realize that someone did a forge over here. Said the Gemara, let's be choishish. And you know this guy, this Marvel was a clever guy. What did he do? He had a rubbed out paper, and then he's going to write on the whole rubbed out paper where the Eidim are going to sign another time. That's the second time that's written on it. And then rub it out. So therefore it comes out where the place where the Eidim was rubbed out twice and the rest of the star is rubbed out once. And then write the star at the top and with the Eidim at the bottom. And then after he gets the star in his own hand, in his own house, he'll rub out the whole top of the star that's written, that's the truth, and write wherever he wants and fake it, and then they both look on the same type of paper because it was both deleted twice, both rubbed out twice, and you won't be able to tell the difference. And then if he could forge away a star. And that the Gemara says, Abaye says that Rav holds that the Eidim, when the Eidim write on a star that's rubbed out, they're only allowed to do it if it was rubbed out in front of them. And if it will be rubbed out in front of them, they're going to realize straight away that it's different to the rest of the shtar. The way they're signing looks different to the rest, so they're going to have that it's possible to forge, and then they won't sign. It says in Gemara Kasha, it says in the Brisa, if the shtar itself is on a fresh new paper, and the place where the Eidim signed is on the rubbed out part, that means in the part at the bottom that was rubbed out, and the top is fresh paper. It said that it's kosher. Said the Gemara, we should be choishish. Maybe the Malva is going to take this star, rub out the whole top part that was only written once, is a fresh paper, and then put wherever he wants over there, right there, he owes him $1 million. And now it will be both written on a rubbed out paper, and it looks okay. Rav said before that ve'edov al mechak is kosher, so a guy could forge. Said the Gemara, no, I'll tell you the solution for that. In such a case where the star is a fresh star, when the Eidim is a rubbed out part, the Eidim have to write, we Eidim signed on a rubbed out part, but the star itself was on a fresh part. And therefore, if the guy's going to rub out the top part and write again wherever he wants, you're going to see that it's written on a rubbed out paper, and therefore, the Eidim say that it was a fresh paper, so we can see it's a forge. So wait 1 second. Where did the Eidim exactly write this part that the star was fresh paper and where they signed is rubbed out? If they write after they sign, the line after they sign, they write this part of the star, he's going to cut that part off and then he won't have that part. If on top of where they signed, he's going to rub it out. Said the Gemara, no. They write it between 8 to 8, so let's say you have Reuven 8, Reuven ben Yaakov 8, and then afterwards you write, we wrote the star on the rubbed out part, the Eidim was on the rubbed out part, the top is not rubbed out, and then the second 8 is Levi ben Yitzchak, and therefore you can't not delete it, because it's going to be seen, and not tear it out. So the Gemara, if so, then you're going to tell me now that you could write, the Eidim could tell you what type of star it was, if it was rubbed out or not. Let's look at the Sefer of the Brisa. The Sefer of the Brisa says, if the star was on a rubbed out part, but the Eidim was on a fresh paper, that means on the same paper that the top was rubbed out, and that's where the new star is written, but the bottom was never written on it, only the Eidim. Says the Brisa, it's possible. Says the Gemara, well, if you what we said now, why should it be possible? Why shouldn't they write on it that we were sitting and we were the Eidim wrote it on a fresh paper, and the star was on a rubbed out paper, and therefore you can't do anything. What are you going to tell me? He's going to rub out the part of the star and rewrite it? But we said already before that you can tell the difference between something that's rubbed out once and rubbed out twice. So if he rubs out twice, it could be very clear. You'll be very clear they rubbed out twice. Says the Gemara Teretz on that, I'll tell you. When can you tell the difference between a paper that was rubbed out once and rubbed out twice, when you could compare it to another to a different part on the same star that was only rubbed out once? But over here, that the Eidim was signed on a fresh paper, so you have nothing to compare it, so you can't know if what was underneath the star was rubbed out once or twice, because you can't compare it to a different part of the star that was rubbed out only once. Tell the Gemara, okay, I'll tell you what you should do. So you have here a star that was rubbed out at the top and is written the star on the bottom, the Eidim on fresh part of the parchment. And we want to know if it was rubbed out twice or not. I'll tell you what you should do. Bring a new paper and rub it out once and see if, and write on it again, and then see does the star that we have look the same or not. And we can see if it was rubbed out once or twice. And that the Gemara says you can't compare different parchment to different parchment. Each parchment has a different characters, thicker, thinner. So therefore it could be that one parchment they rubbed out once looks like a different parchment that was rubbed out twice. You won't be able to tell if it was rubbed out once or twice. Says the Gemara, okay, you want to check on this parchment? I'll tell you what to do. Except the Eidim, that means you have your parchment that was rubbed out and it has on it the Nusach HaShtar. At the bottom there is the Eidim that signed on a fresh part of parchment. So first accept the Eidim, that means check with Eidim to say that we recognize these Eidim that they kosher and we recognize their signatures. So now we know that these Eidim are kosher. Then rub it out and then we could see if it looks the same like the top, because it's rubbed out once, and we'll see if the top is rubbed out once or twice, and it's the same type of paper, so you're able to tell the difference. Says Rabbi Oishia, no. When you rub something out once, one day, and you leave it one day, and only afterwards you write on it, and when you rub out a parchment and you write it only after 2 days, it looks different. So you won't know, even if it looks different, you might think, oh, the top one is because you waited 2 days and still until you wrote on top of it. Masha'ink, in the bottom one, you only waited 1 day and therefore it looks different. Now the Gemara says Ulishaye, so let's wait 2 days. Some people are not Goresit, and I prefer not to be Goresit because Tosis explains, and because also 2 days and 3 days, you'll never know how much days to wait, so it's hard to tell. But if Goresit, the Gemara says let's wait longer, and that Rabbi Yirmiyah says no, we're choishesh for best in time, to start rubbing out the Eidim and writing again and looking if it compares to each other, it's a complicated process, and not every Beis Din know how to check it. Therefore, we prefer not to go into it, and therefore we say a star that's rubbed out on top and where the Eidim are written is not rubbed out is possible because we're choishesh the Beis Din toil. After we explain this Gemara, let's read the next Gemara and we'll explain. The last line of Kuf Samech Daled Amud Beis. Amud Aleph. Eshiv Rebbe לרב חנינא בן גמליאל, והלא אינו דומה זמנו של זה לזמנו של זה. פשוט מלאך שנה מונים לו שנה, 2 מונים לו 2, מקושר, מלאך שנה מונים לו 2, 2 מונים לו זימני, 3. וזימני דיעזיף מיני זוזי בן מקושר, ומתראה מיני זוזי ביני וביני, וקורא לי ואומר לי אב לאשתרוי, ואמר לי איכס לי, וכתב לי תברא. וכימות לזמני משווה לי פשוט, ואומר לי אני אשתו דיעזת מיני. כסבר, אם כותבים שובר, ומי בא כי רבי במקושר, והוא מקושר דעתה לקמי דרבי, ואמר רב ישתר מאוחר זה, ואמר לו זוני, לרבי, כך מנהג אשר אמר זו, מלאך שנה מונים, לא 2, 2 מונים לו 3, לבטר דשמע מזונים סברה. So says the Gemara, that the Mishnah, it said, the Reb Chanina ben Gamliel said, a mekusha, we said to the difference, a normal get, a normal shtar, you write the Eidim on the front of the page, and a mekusha, you write it on the back. Says the Mishnah, if you wrote a mekusha, the Eidim on the front, it's possible. Reb Chanina, the son of Reb Gamliel, said, no, it's not possible. Why? Because you can use it as a normal shtar. You can use it as a get poshut, not as a get mekusha, and it's good. So Rebbe told Reb Chanina ben Gamliel, how could you do this? Why? Because we know that there's another difference that we never mentioned until now between a get poshut and a mekusha. What's the difference? That in a normal get and a get poshut, let's say the king Charles was second year in kingdom, so you write in the star we were in the second year of King Charles. If it was in the third year, you write in the third year. If it was the first year, we write in the first year. But in a get mekusha, where you have all the knots, a complicated get, Rabbanon made it a bit more complicated, and they made a difference over there as well. And the difference is that if the King Charles was 1 year, you write in the Shtar, we were in the second year of King Charles. If he was 2 years, you write 3 years. So says Rebbe to Rab Chanina, if you're going to use a get, a Shtar, that you wrote, and the Eidim on the front, so that means really the Alvar was in the first year of the king, but what did we say? By get mekusha, you write the second year. So what's going to happen? So let's say in the first year you write the second year. Now, in that first year, the loiver comes to pay the malva, and the malva says, I lost my shtar. So the loiver says, I'm not paying you back, I need to prove that I paid you back. So the malva says, I'll write you a shoiva, I'll write you a receipt that you paid me back. So he writes a receipt. The malva writes the loiver receipt, you paid me back the loan from the year number 1 of the king, because that's when it was. And then later on, the guy who has the Eidim in the front is gonna make it into a normal get. That means in a get, he's gonna use that as a normal shtar. He's gonna say, oh, it says here second year of Charles. So it's from now, you owe me money. The lawyer is going to say, what do you mean I paid you back? This is a shoiva, this is a receipt. No, the receipt is for something in the past. Look at the date of the receipt, it was a long time ago. This is only now. So therefore, how could Reb Chanina say that you can use a get mekusha that has a date of a year later as a normal shtar? The guy could fake and charge twice for one loan, says Rebbe to Reb Chanina. Says the Gemara that Reb Chanina holds they don't write a shoiva. That means if the loiver comes to the malva and the malva says, I lost the shtar, the loiver won't pay back until you give him the shtar to tear out. There's no such a thing of writing a receipt. And we're going to see later on in the Gemara that it's a machloikis about it. So therefore, there's no such a chashash to Reb Chanina of this din of shoiva, because there's no such a thing as shoiva receipt. Said the Gemara, how did Rebbe, is Rebbe such a boki in mekusha to know the difference of the years and get mekusha you write the next year? It's not true, because there was a get mekusha that came in front of Rebbe, and it said in it, let's say, the third year of the king, and the king was only in the second year. So Rebbe said, it's a get mocha. So Zoinim told Rebbe, no, this is not get mocha, it's a mekusha, and by mekusha you write the next year. Even if you're in the second year, you write the third year. So we could see Rebbe never knew this din. So how is Rebbe asking Reb Chanina, how did he know this din? Well, not the Gemara answers, yeah, Enochanami, at the beginning, Rebbe never knew this din, I get mekusha, you write the next year. But once Zoinim taught it to him, now he knew it. He asked the kasha, Reb Chanina, Reb Chanina, what you're going to do is going to cause the malva to able to cheat. Let's continue reading the Gemara inside. Au shtara, Dave Katabe Bishnat, Ploni Arkan. Amar Reb Chanina, Ibadek, Matai Amad Arkan Barkunusei. בדילמה דאריך מלכוסי, אמר רב אושר, כך מנהג אשר הוא מבוא, שנה ראשונה קוראים לו ארקן, שנייה קוראים לו דיגון, בדילמה בורי עברו ועד הרוקמיו, אמר רב ירמיהו, ארקן דיגון קראו לו. So the Gemara says, there was a star that said in it, in this year of the king when he was Arkon. And we're going to see soon Arkon means the first year that he was a king. So Reb Chanina says, we check when this king was the first year, when was he the first year king? It was in this and this year, it was Shnas 2015, he was the first year king. And we know that this star, sorry, it's from 2015. Says the Gemara, how do you know that Arkon means the first year? Maybe Arkon means that after he's been many years, Loshen Aryeh, that he's been many years in his kingdom, and then one maybe means 10 years in his kingdom. How do we know that it means year first? Says Rabbi Shia, no, the minig of this Ummah was that Shana Rishono, when the king was the king, we call him Arkon. Second year we call him Digoin, that means 2. And therefore, Arkon means the first year, it doesn't mean long life, the king. So the more different suffix, maybe this king was a king, and then they kicked him out, and then he became king again. So now he's Arkon the second time. So how do you know which Arkon? Is it first time or second time? So the Gemara, no, Omar Virmiya, no. When the king who was a king and he became not king and then he became a king again, we don't call him Arkon, we call him Arkon Digoy, meaning Arkon for the second time. And therefore, if it says Arkon by itself, it means the first time that he was king. Once we use this Lashonos of Digoin, and so we're going to bring a brisa that's not really relative to here, only about that. So it says, we're going to read it inside. Tanu Rabbanan Areini Nazir, Sumchos Omer, Hina Chat, Digon Shtayim, Digon Gimel, Tatrigon Arba, Pantigon Chamesh. So it says in the brisa, someone who says a nozir. So someone who says I'm a nozir stam, he's a nozir for 30 days. So Sumcha says, if he says I'm a nozir hina, it means one time 30 days. If he says digoin, in Laz it means 2, so it's going to be for 60 days. If he says trigon, like 3 tri, it's like a triangle. So 3, he's going to be for 3 times 90 days in nozir. If he said tatrigoin, it means 4 times in nozir, 120 days. And if he says pentagon, it means 5 times. As we know, the Pentagon in the United States of America has 5 sides, and that's why it's called Pentagon. So a pentagon means 5 times, so it's 30 times 5. He's going to be another for 150 days. Now we're going to bring another thing about these Lashonos. Tanu Rabbanan, Bet Agol Digon, Trigon Pantigon. Bet Agol, Digon, Trigon Pantigon, Eno Metame Benegaim. Tatrigon Metame Benegaim. Meno ani mili detanu Rabbanan, למעלה אומר קיר קירות 2, למטה אומר קיר קירות 2, הרי כאן 4. So it's another din, it's a din about Negoim, that it says in the Brisa, that we know there's a din when a house has a nega, so it's mitame. Says the Brisa, big chiddush, that this din only applies if the house has 4 walls, if it's a square house. But if the house is round, or it has 2 walls, I mean it's half round and then 2 walls on the other side, or it's a triangle house with 3 walls, or a pentagon like we said before with 5 walls, even if it has a nega tzaras, it's not mitame. But if it has 4 walls, a patri going, then it's mitame ben going. It says it more, where do we know this? Because it says in the Brisa, at the top posuk it says kir kiros. That means in the posuk it says v'roas hanega v'ine hanega bekiros abayis. It could have said v'ine hanega bekira abayis. Why did it say kiros? So it's not only 1 wall, 2 walls. Ulemato, and the other posuk it says kir kiros. Again, it's in the other posuk. V'shova koyin b'yom hashiv v'ro v'ine posha hanega bekiros abayis. It could have said posha hanega bekira abayis. Why did it say loshen rabim? To add another 2 walls. Shtayim Aryeh and Arba, it's coming to tell you that a nega is only mitame with a house that has 4 walls. Let's read the Gemara weiter. O mekusha da'ata lekamei de Rebbe, ve'amar Rebbe, en zman beze, amar le Reb Shimon beRebbe, לרבי, שמא בין קשריו מובלע, פריה וחזיה עד החזה ברבי בבישי. אמר לי, לאו אני כתבתי, רב יהודה חייטה כתבי, אמר לי, קלח מלשון הרע הזה. זמינים ודיעתיו קמי בקפסיק סדרה בתהילים, בספר תהילים. אמר רבי, כמה מיושר כתב זה? אמר לי, לאו אנא כתבי, יהודה חייטה כתבי. אמר לי, קלח מלשון הרע הזה. בישלמה תמי כלשון הרע, אלא החמי לשון הרע איכה. משום דרב דימי, דתני רב דימי, אחמד דרב ספרא, לא עולה מה לספר אדם בתורתו של חברו, שמתוך תורתו בא לידי רעתו. So the Gemara says a story that we had it early on, but here we add on some details. A get mekusha that came in front of Rebbe. And Rebbe said, there's no zman, where's the date in this get? So Rab Shimon, his son, told Rebbe, maybe it's in the knots, it was a get mekusha that's not, and maybe if we have to open the knots, we'll find the time. And so they did it, they opened the knots and they found the date. Then he saw that Rebbe was like angry or upset with him, because Rashbam explains 2 reasons. One is because Rebbe held they shouldn't do get mekusha, because it's very complicated and people do mistakes, or because even if you do a get mekusha, you should put this man in a place that you could see it even without opening the knots. So he was upset. So Reb Shimon told Rebbe, I didn't write this get, don't get mad with me. Reb Yehuda Chayta, that was his name, he wrote it. So Rebbe told the son Reb Shimon, Klach Lashon Hara, don't. Why are you telling me Lashon Hara? You don't want to be, you see that I'm upset when you say, I never wrote this get. Why are you telling me who did write it? That's Lashon Hara. Said there was a similar story. That one time, Rebbe was sitting with Reb Shimon, his son, and he was reading one chelik of Tehillim. Tehillim is split in 5 chalokim, and he was reading one chelik. And Rebbe said, wow, the Sefer Tehillim that's written is written so nicely, the writing is so nicely. So Reb Shimon told his father Rebbe, don't think I wrote the Sefer Tehillim that's written so nicely, it's Yehuda Chayta who wrote it. And Rebbe told his son Reb Shimon, stop saying Lashon Hara. On that, the Gemara was asked the obvious question, very good by this story, by the get mekusha. Rebbe was upset and it's Lashon Hara who did it, because like we said, he shouldn't do get mekusha, or he didn't do it correctly. So it's Lashon Hara. We can understand, but this case of writing the Tehillim nice, l'chora, it's very nice. He said, I didn't do this nice Tehillim, it was Shimon Chayta who did it. So he's saying a good thing about Shimon Chayta. Why is it called Lashon Hara? So the Gemara, the reason is because the Rav Dimi learns in the Brisa, the brother of Rav Safra, that a person shouldn't even say good things about his friend, because once he says good things, it comes to say bad things. So if I let it say, oh, Reuven, such a nice person, he donates so much money to tzedakah, very likely me or someone else in the conversation is going to say, yeah, he's very nice with the tzedakah, but he's so stingy with his family, he never gives them money for basic things, or something like that. Therefore, don't even say good things about your friend. And therefore, Rebbe said, that day telling me that Reb Shimon Chayta wrote this Tehillim very nicely is type of Lashon Hara. Continue the Gemara, Amar Rav Amram, Amar Rav, 3 עבירות אין אדם ליצור מהן בכל יום, ערעור עבירה ועיון תפילה בלשון הרע. לשון הרע סל כדעתך, אלא רק לשון הרע. אמר רב יהודה, אמר רב, רוב בגזל ומיעוט באריות, והכל בלשון הרע. בלשון הרע סל כדעתך, אלא רק לשון הרע. So once we spoke about Lashon Hara, we're going to bring another thing about Lashon Hara. The Rav Amram says in the name of Rav, 3 Averas a person every day doesn't get saved from. It's very common. And why is that? Avera, a person thinks about doing Averas, so that's very common. Iyum Tefillah, the Rashbam explains that he davens and then he expects that what he davens for Hashem should give him, even though that's not something that's obvious. It doesn't mean that day he asks for it, Hashem will answer his Tefillah. And Lashon Hara, talking bad about other people. Said the Gemara, you think it means literally Lashon Hara, or every day a person talks bad about people? It's possible not to talk bad about other people. Said the Gemara, Kuf Samech Aleph Amud Aleph. No, we don't mean literally Lashon Hara, it's Avak Lashon Hara, dust of Lashon Hara. Rashbam explains, like we say in Aryeh, like saying, oh, there's a fire in someone's house, and that's considered Avak Lashon Hara. Ayin Shom Be'Aryeh, why? Then Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav, Loid people, a nechshel begezel, they find all different types of eterim to do things that are taking money from other people, business. And a small amount of people over Isar Aryeh, etc. Everyone over Lashon Hara. Said the Gemara, Lashon Hara, everyone's over. Some people don't talk about other people. Said the Gemara, no, it means everyone's over Avak Lashon Hara. Talking like saying something that's not Mamish Lashon Hara, but saying something dust that has similarity to Lashon Hara, that everyone's over. Lashon Hara itself, some people are not over. Thank you very much. We should all be blessed. Hashem should protect Am Yisrael, and we should be zoichel to remember this Gemara, understand it, and to learn it again. Thank you very much, my friends.